$10, and children 12 and under are free. For more information, visit the Home and Garden Show online at hbal.org.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Letting your child know you believe in them will go a long way towards making a dream a reality. I'm Tim Royers, president of the Nebraska State Education Association. It's important to celebrate learning, focus on the positives, and reinforce good effort and determination. Children need your encouragement and support. Nebraska public school teachers want every student to succeed.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Serve Nebraska believes that volunteers are part of what makes Nebraska great. Each year, the Step Forward Awards honors volunteers from across the state who serve their communities in outstanding ways. We hope you'll join us this year at the Step Forward Awards luncheon on October 27th in Omaha. Help us thank volunteers with a celebration to remember. To register, visit serve.nebraska.gov and click Register Now. We hope to see you there. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
This is how we do every day. We be grinding, and if you want to come and text us.
If you love them enough to turn off your music and pretend like their music is your music.
This is Mommy's jam.
Then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
Let's play it again.
Check today at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Coming at you live from the 93.7 The Ticket studio. From the heart of Lincoln, America, this is What's Next 24. with the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome in. Happy Sunday. This is What's Next 24. Harrison Arms on the ones and twos. As always, we got the host, Mike and Sherry, as well as a great guest in studio today. 402-464-5685. That is the Sergeant Haven text line. And as always, you can put a face to the voice, Facebook, YouTube, X, Allo Channel 961. If you got Allo Cable. With that being said, throw it over to the host, Mike and Sherry.
All right, well, good morning, everybody. Welcome to What's Next on 93.7 The Ticket FM. I'm Mike, and I'm joined here with the wonderful Miss Sherry, and we've great producer Harrison. What's Next is more than just a show. It's a community of listeners coming together to share stories of hope and motivation and offer a helping hand. Whether you're turning in for inspiration or a dose of positivity or just feeling connected, we've got something special lined up for you today. Boy, Sherry, hasn't the last couple of weeks just been amazing? Some of the shows we've had.
Oh my gosh!
Just want to
blowing me out of the water.
When I think a lot of times we had Jay Foreman on discussing his book From Iron Will.
Can't wait to have you back too, Mr. J.
We had John Barry on his book of Veteran Led.
Yep.
And then last week we had Darren Littner. Wasn't he funny? Wasn't he great?
Darren was a blast.
Darren did a great job of talking about his positivity of motivation and his work as a volunteer fire and training and the work that he did. And now today we've got another book to promote today. Listen to. Now today, another great book to discuss is called Am I That Man? And with that said, Sherry, would you like to introduce our guest?
I would love to introduce our guest, Mike. We are so honored and so excited to welcome a true Lincoln legend, Mr. Ron Scheidt. He hails from Lincoln, Nebraska, obviously. Ron is a very proud graduated. I can't talk again this morning. Ron is a proud graduate of Lincoln High School, and he's made remarkable contributions, not just as a coach and an educator, but a law enforcement instructor, martial arts specialist, and co-author of an inspiring book, Am I That Man? I don't think he's old enough to have done all that and made all those accomplishments. But join us as we journey through Ron's extraordinary life and his career. We're going to look at some legendary athletes from Lincoln High, which my mom went there, by the way. Ron's coaching adventures and pivotal life decisions, insights on mindset, training, and achieving goals. His high level of advice on intentionality, focus, and the power of mentorship. We're also going to explore the transformative impact of his book, Am I That Man?, which he co-authored with Brian Willis. This collection of 31 personal stories highlights how influential mentors, role models, and heroes have shaped the lives of various men. It's a must-read for anyone aspiring to be a better mentor, role model, or leader in their community. And I want to say one thing really quick, too, is I have looked at parts of Ron's book, and even though it's entitled, Am I That Man?, there are so many things in that book that don't just apply to men, that women can apply in their lives, too. So don't think you don't want to buy it just because it's a man's book, because it's not. It's for everybody. With all that said, we welcome you, Mr. Ron.
Welcome, Ron.
Well, thank you, guys. It's great to be here with you. Nice to see you again, Mike. It's been a lot of years.
Oh, it certainly has. They go so fast. And also, why don't you mention Jerry?
And my wife, Jerry Rush, is here with me today. She's shy and doesn't want to go on camera or go on audio, but she is here with my moral support.
But we are so happy that you're here. I wanted to just kind of do a quick shout out before we jump into the show today, the story of Lincoln High. I was doing some research on this again. Lincoln High's got a rich history of Lincoln. Lincoln High School in Lincoln, Nebraska, it's the city's largest and oldest public high school. If you didn't know this, it was established in 1871, known as the Lynx. Does anybody know why it's called the Lynx? I'll let you think about that. But the reason why it's called the Lynx is that the school embraces tradition of diversity, excellence, and unity with its colors of red, black as its colors. Lincoln High is part of the Lincoln Public Schools District, which offers a robust academic program, including prestigious international baccalaureate programs. It's celebrated as the school of opportunity for its commitment to multicultural education and academic rigor. With diverse student body, Lincoln High focuses on preparing students for success in life after high school. Ron, I just begin with yourself, early years. What do you remember about Lincoln High?
Mike, it's going to be a constant theme today, and that's relationships. You know, you talked to me the other night on the phone about some of the big sporting events and games and stuff, and I can be, totally honest. I don't remember any of the scores. I don't remember who won, who did what, but I can remember all the friendships and all the relationships and some of the incredible athletes that have walked the halls of Lincoln High, from George Sauer way back when, Nebraska football star, Kenny Adkins, Steve Harris, Mike Foltz.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
Some of the incredible athletes that have walked there. But once again, it's even Jerry has commented. Jerry's from Iowa. She didn't have the opportunity to attend the high, but she has commented that Lincoln High is just a big family. You know, we'll see people around town and she'll say, "How do you know them?" And I'll say, went to school together. Did they graduate with them? No, they were 3 years ahead of me or 2 years behind me. But it is truly just a big family. Lincoln is a very small, medium-sized city, but everyone kind of has a story with everyone else.
Well, it's interesting. As I was researching, and I remembered this, just to mention, as you mentioned, some names like Mike Foltz, some of the people you might remember. I'm just going to read off a few names who graduated from Lincoln High, and I could have gone on and on and on. Ralph Beechner, former football coach, won 6 state championships up from Lincoln High. He was the class from 1926. Bill Fife was in education. I believe he was a principal at Lincoln High one time.
He was the principal when I was there.
He was a graduate of 1936. Here's some interesting things that people may not know. Ted Sorensen, speechwriter for John F. Kennedy, graduate of Lincoln High, 1945. Here's a popular one. Dick Cavett, 1954. The one that my family always remembered, as my brother was close to, was Bobby Williams, NFL Detroit Lions running back. Great super athlete then. And of course, Mike Foltz, Mike Washington, and I could go on and on about those memories.
And I'm just going to jump in here, and I'm sorry I have to do this. Today would have been my mom's birthday. My mom and my aunt both graduated from Lincoln High. Like you said, what did I say? Did I say Lincoln High?
I hope you said Lincoln High.
I did.
You better said Lincoln High today, Sherry. But you're between a couple of links.
but and my mom graduated in 37. And but her very best friend, but she always, every reunion, she couldn't wait to get back. And she stayed connected with so many of her high school friends from Lincoln High, and all of them were always about, even when they moved out of state, they were all about the family at Lincoln High. And her best friend, and I'm really dating her and kind of dating me, but her very best friend was Sandy Dennis. Sandy Dennis won an Academy Award.
Sure.
She went on to be a very, very famous actress. So yeah, Lincoln High has really produced some incredible people.
Ron, what years were you at Lincoln High?
I graduated in 74, Mike.
And who were some of the influences? I know I want to mention, you mentioned Aldi Johnson. I looked him up. I didn't realize Aldi, by the way, had coached 32 years, 459 wins.
Wow.
That.
I played for Coach Johnson my senior year at Lincoln High, and I say played, I'm using that very liberally. I probably sat a lot more than I played, but Coach Johnson was a mentor to me. I, got into high school and college basketball coaching, and ended up being just like a second father to me. His death hit me very hard. Yeah. He and his wife Shirley were very close friends of Jerry and I, and you will not find a better man than Coach Johnson. And as you probably also saw recently, Coach Forch passed away. Paul was the last of the big four: Coach McNaught, Ed Johnson, Aldi Johnson, and Paul Forch. They were the big four in Lincoln. And, he was the last one to pass away. And legendary coaches and bigger than life men.
Those were just the greatest years. I mean, we share the same time period. Just big influences on me. When you mention those names, then they talk about those names. Jim Rose did a show on those. It mentioned the great history of those. Those four coaches used to have breakfast together.
Oh yeah, they were best of friends.
Yeah,
Coach McNaught and Coach Aldi Johnson were best of friends, and they would compete heavily during the games, and they'd all go out to Village Inn afterwards for pie.
Yeah.
So their wives were best friends, and you can remember, Mike, as well as I can, is typically an East High Northeast game at Pershing. You had to go right from school to have a chance to get in.
Yeah.
And then they set the chairs up on the stage and everywhere else just to have a chance to get in.
Yeah.
Those were some great years in Lincoln sports.
They were. And it's interesting about times have changed. They were always so dynamic. And yet this last year, there's a big story, Lincoln High had to,
Very
sadly, I don't want to put a bad note on that, but couldn't finish a football game because probably not enough athletes. Athletes open district now. Things have changed.
They have changed dramatically. When we were there wasn't a North Star or Lincoln Southwest, and now they've added a couple of additional schools. And there's only so much pie, and it's being spread fairly thin. So I think it's affecting all of the schools.
Let's pivot to you now. Growing up in Lincoln during that time, as young, share us a little bit about your family story. You shared with me, if you would.
Mike, I was 13 when my dad passed away, and not to cast aspersions on anyone, but not a great man, heavy drinker, not a great man.
Mm-hmm.
I was 13 when he passed away, and I can still remember the morning when my mom came running into the house to say my dad had passed away. And one of the first feelings I had, sadly enough, as a 13-year-old boy, was relief, because there were so many times where we would grab what we could grab and run out the door and try to get to safety that particular night. And we had moved to Wahoo, and we're living in Wahoo, and had lived up there for about a month when he passed away. And we moved back to stay with my grandmother only briefly. And my grandmother lived in the apartment complex right behind what was formerly the Goodwill store at 18th and O Street. She lived in that old apartment complex, and we moved in there. It was supposed to be a very temporary, brief thing, and I ended up graduating from high school there. Wow. So we lived there the whole time. So it was tough growing up. It was definitely tough.
I think that was a common theme. It still is today. I lost my older brother to alcoholism, my sister to alcoholism, life's events. It can have a very traumatic impact. Can you share? How did that impact you?
Well, I've never drank.
You don't?
No, I don't drink. Don't smoke.
Yeah.
I saw enough of it in that time period. It was something that I didn't want for myself or want for my family. Fortunately, I had my brother was always in my life. My brother Roger, who is one of the two main people I wrote about in the book, and Coach Bill Hunsacker came along and walked beside me there. And thank God for those two men. Those are the two men that I wrote about. And
share a little bit about your brother.
My brother was a great man. He was the superintendent of Lincoln Steel when it was formerly out on West O Street. Great athlete, AAA softball player, former Link as well, Marine. Just a great man. And he just recognized, having grown up in the same household, he recognized my needs and what I needed then. And he, took me in as if I was his own son. I was constantly with him. He was going to movies, going to sporting events. We were just constantly together. And it was, his passing, I was 30 at the time when he passed from pancreatic cancer. And it's probably something I never will totally get over.
No, that's a huge impact. You and I share so many things in common. I lost my mother when I was 19 to leukemia, and the house was never the same.
Right.
And I'm sure, did you experience some of those same
Absolutely.
feelings?
Holidays and things like that. It's just hard to replicate those feelings and those relationships. And it is all about relationships.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And you're
excuse me.
I think about, I had a lot of issues childhood growing up here in Lincoln, and biological dad left us when I was 10. My mom had just had my baby brother, and there was 4 of us. But back during those times, and I don't think a lot of younger people realize, those times when there was issues like that, and the alcoholism and the grabbing things to get out to be safe, people don't realize that back then you didn't talk about those things.
No,
they weren't common. You didn't have counselors to go to discuss those issues. You just had to deal with it as it came. And it's a great testament to your mom and how she functioned and how she got through. Women didn't leave their husbands because they were abusive or alcoholic or whatever their issues were. They just kept pushing through and doing what they had to do for their families. And then, and what a blessing that your brother had that wherewithal and could see that to step in and bring you through. I was in medical most of my life, and I worked.
Speaking to the mic.
I'm sorry, Harrison. I do that every week. I'm glad you still like me though. But diagnosis of pancreatic cancer. I'm, and especially if this was years ago, that was considered a death sentence.
It absolutely was. I can remember the day then he received the diagnosis like it was yesterday. I'd taken his two sons out to Valentino's buffet to eat while he was going through some of the exploratory surgery. And when we came back, my mom met us at the elevator and said that this was the diagnosis, and there wasn't any hope. And I'll never forget a car ride we took one night. He had asked me to come over and pick him up, and we went for a car ride. And he said he'd went into the doctor, and there was nothing more they could do. And this was the first time in my life that he couldn't fix it, because no matter what problem I'd ever had in life, or my mom had, he had the answer. And this is the very first time in life when he couldn't fix it. And I'll remember it. I was driving and he was riding, and we stopped, and he shed maybe 2 tears. And I said, "What are we going to do?" He said, "There's nothing we can do, Ron." And he swore that I would be there for his 2 sons and help them grow up to be men. And it was something I'll never forget.
He passed the torch.
He did.
Well, I'll tell you, Ron, what's interesting about your life from my perspective is what you talked about is the impact of influence of people in your life that influenced you. Let's pivot to your physical education teacher.
Coach Bill Hunsacker, Everett Junior High. When we moved back to Lincoln after my dad passed away, we'd only lived in Wahoo a month. When we moved back to Lincoln, where we stayed with my grandmother at, right off of 18th and O Street there, I should have by all means went to Whittier. But Coach Hunsacker was, and your father was the coach at Whittier then.
Yeah.
So I would have been okay with Coach Chuck too. But my brother's good friend was Bill Hunsacker. They had played basketball together. Yeah. And my brother wanted me to go to Everett because he knew Bill would be such a tremendous influence on me. And he ended up being that influence. I really got deep into basketball because Bill was a huge basketball star. He played with Coach Osborne at Hastings College.
Wow.
And Bill was just a tremendous player and an even better man. And he brought me into coaching then after I'd gotten out of high school, and I was coaching just intramurals there at Everett. And I came in one night to coach, and he said, "I need to talk to you for a minute." And I'll never forget, he took me into his office, which is never a good thing. But he says, "Ron, I need you to do something for me." And I said, "Anything, I'll do anything in the world for you." And he said, "I need you to go to college for me." And I said, "Oh, Coach, I nobody in my family goes to school. We just work." And I said, "Wait, I don't know if I could do that." I said, "Well, Coach, if I started college right now, I'm going to be 30 years old when I graduate." And he looked at me and said, "You're going to be 30 years old whether you graduate or not." So I did. I ended up going to school and getting my degree, got some hours towards my master's, but ended up starting coaching little YMCA basketball and coaching at Everett, and ended up coaching at Wesleyan.
Yeah.
So,
what a great lesson for people to think it's too late for me to go to school. I'm just going to throw myself in work. You hear that a lot. You see that in the community. You think there's maybe no hope. There is hope. That's a great story. This is where it starts to really ramp up for you. And I think this is great. So at age 30, you're at Wesleyan. Is that correct?
I'm at, as a coach.
Excuse me. But where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of Nebraska.
You went to the University of Nebraska.
Right.
I'm sorry. Okay. I thought you went to Wesleyan.
I probably wasn't smart enough or rich enough to go to Wesleyan.
Well, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, no, I was very sure. No, I went to the University of Nebraska, but I ultimately, I coached with Coach Johnson at Lincoln High.
Yeah.
And I ultimately ended up coaching at Nebraska Wesleyan for 3 years with Jerry Schmuddy. Went in the really great years. We were really, really good then.
This is where it really ramps up. Was the idea then you want to be a full-time coach?
I did
at the high school or college level.
I wanted to be a full-time college coach. I had several different opportunities. About that time, my brother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, and I decided this isn't my time now. This is my time for my brother, and this is my time for my nephews. So I just got out of coaching, and that was when I made the transition into as a state probation officer and ultimately being a federal agent.
Before we talk about the probation officer, I was fascinated by your story. You've met so many people in your life along the path. This is an amazing story, everyone. You will not believe the people that you've met. Talk about the you talked about the basketball camps.
I'm very old, Mike. That's
Well,
why I've met all these
so
people.
But share some of these stories who you've met.
I had the tremendous honor of working at the University of Indiana for Coach Bobby Knight,
Oh.
and worked at the University of Kansas for several years for Larry Brown, Michigan for Bill Frater.
Wow.
And one of the funny stories, too, I always tell is I coached at 5-star basketball camp, which is kind of the pinnacle of high school, All-Americans and coaches trying to, make the up and coming. And I got the job at 5-star basketball camp by a guy named John Calipari. I don't know whatever happened to John.
What happened to John?
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to John. I hope he's doing well. And but John was a friend of mine at the University of Kansas, made one phone call to Howard Garfinkel in New York City, and the rest is history. It was a tremendous opportunity to coach at 5-star.
Ron, those share. So many people probably want to get into coaching, but how did you open those doors so quickly?
You have to be willing to volunteer. You have to be willing to seek out mentorship. And it's just, it all comes back to my relationships. My relationship with Coach Hunsaker and Coach Johnson opened doors. And then my relationship and just humble yourself.
Yeah.
It's a lot of it is humbling yourself. People want to start at the very top. It's like they'll say they started at third base and thought they hit a triple or something. I don't know what this exact saying is, but you really have to humble yourself and start at the very beginning. But John was a good friend of mine, and he didn't have to do it, but he went upstairs to his office one day and he made a call for me and opened up a lot of doors.
And sometimes it's not what you know, it's who you know and who you've aligned yourself with.
It's just surrounding yourself with quality people.
Absolutely.
And once again, I think it's humbling yourself and just saying, I want to learn. Would you be interested in helping me? Would you be interested in talking to me?
Do you have any good Bobby Knight stories?
I have a lot of Coach Knight.
I just was going to ask you, did Bobby Knight ever hit you with a chair?
Can you share?
He put me in a chokehold. Before I was working at the University of Nebraska part-time, for basketball camps for Coach Iba. And Coach Iba's secretary, Nancy Williams, came to me and said, Ron, are you going to be back next week? Or do you want me to pay you this week? And I said, Nancy, actually, I'm going to be in Indiana next week working for Bobby Knight. And she says, well, tell Bobby hi for me, like everybody jokingly does. And come to find out, she knew him very well because Coach Knight and Coach Iba's father, Henry Iba, were very close friends. So Nancy knew Coach Knight very well. So she says, tell Coach Knight hello for me when you see him. And I'm like, yeah, right. So anyway, he was getting ready to lecture at Assembly Hall one day. And just before they were gathering all the kids together, 400 some kids, as Coach Knight was going to lecture, and a kid kicked the basketball and it was rolling out the door headed for outside. And I ran over and picked the ball up. And as I looked up after picking the ball up, Coach Knight, bigger than life, and he is a large man, standing right in my face. And I did just like the guy wanting the Red Ryder BB gun at Christmas, I did my very fast talk. Coach Knight, I'm Ron Scheidt from Lincoln, Nebraska, and Nancy Williams said to tell you hi. And he starts laughing and says, how the hell is the old gal? Well, he throws his arm around me and puts me in a quasi chokehold. And we stood there for about 20 minutes talking. He's asking about Coach Iba and myself and all kinds of things. And then when we finally quit talking and he went over to lecture, as soon as he was done lecturing, all the other coaches came running over to me and said, what did he say to you? What were you guys talking about? And I, of course, told him the truth. I said he was very interested in hiring me and he'd been watching me. And so I had a lot of great Coach Knight stories. But what you really saw with him oftentimes is not the true person. He gave a lot of money to charity with the express understanding that if it came out that he was giving the money, he would stop because he didn't want any recognition for it. So,
Ron, we need to take a quick break and we'll be back in just a minute with more with Ron Scheidt.
Ready to spruce up your space? No matter what project is on your list, you can check it off at the Nebraska Builders Home and Garden Show, February 7th through the 9th at the Sandhills Global Event Center. With over 200 businesses under one roof, you'll find the latest in home innovations and experts to handle your dream projects. Admission is just $10, and children 12 and under are free. For more information, visit the Home and Garden Show online at hbal.org.
Psst. You know what's better than waking up early to go to the airport? Sleeping in. Lucky for you, the lines at the Lincoln Airport are so short and our service is so fast. You won't need to sacrifice precious beauty sleep to get here hours before your flight. So, go ahead, sleep in. You deserve it, and choose the airport that helps you relax. LNK, make flying easy.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
The dangers of secondhand smoke are well known. But what about secondhand aerosol, which is created when using e-cigarettes? Science already shows a secondhand aerosol can contain nicotine, heavy metals, and cancer-causing agents. Eliminating exposure to secondhand aerosol is an important step to keeping everyone safe. Breathe easier knowing the facts.
For help quitting, call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job?
Not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
Or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hungered in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Banks Strong, and the Ad Council.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Not many businesses can say they've made it 60 years, but Madsen's Bowling and Billiards can. With 12 bowling lanes and the biggest pool room in Nebraska, where else would you go to enjoy an afternoon or evening? There's great daily specials like $2 Tuesdays. Games of bowling, shoe rental, draft beers, and tacos, all just $2 each. Have a delicious burger at EJ's Lounge before or after your bowling or pool session, and you'll leave satisfied. Madsen's Bowling and Billiards at 47th and Dudley.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
What's going on, fans? This is Lexi Rodriguez, four-time All-American at Nebraska and now proud member of Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League One Volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players, and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering us on in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action this season. Go Big Green!
Back to What's Next 24 from the 93.7 The Ticket studio. with the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome back in the second segment. What's Next 24? The host is always Mike and Sherry, as well as a great guest in studio. We don't got a ton of time here left, so I'm going to go ahead and throw it over to the host.
Well, welcome back. I'm just so glad today that our show with Ron Scheidt. He's the co-author of I Am That Man book. It talks about how heroes, role models, and mentors can shape your life. Ron, great stories on that first segment. It's just amazing your journey through hopes and challenges with basketball and your goals and dreams with that. But as you mentioned, life changes, things come at you that are difficult, like of course your brother's passing, but the great memories that he has. Let's jump into, you decided to make a career change.
I did, Mike. I was hoping to teach at Lincoln High or ultimately coach college basketball.
Right.
And there just weren't any openings. So I worked at Region 5 Mental Health Services briefly and got into being a state probation officer. As a result of being a state probation officer, then I got into the feds. I worked as a federal agent, federal probation officer in Omaha for 20 years, retired there in 2011. So I've been out like,
what's required to be a probation officer these days?
Well, college degree in social services or criminal justice. Experience helps if you're going to get into the feds. Certainly, life experiences help when law enforcement of some fashion. Yeah. Mine was with state probation, but I worked Omaha, primarily North Omaha, for 20 years. My specialized in street crime or violent crime. Bank robberies, gangs, guns, and drugs were really my expertise.
That's quite a transition. Wow, that's amazing. What was the journey like? What were the lessons? And this had to be a whole change for you initially,
especially in Omaha.
It was. Fortunately, once again, I aligned myself with really good people, and just be willing to learn. And it's so much of what you learn outside of the job too. You have to be a student of the profession. And that means read and study and attend, the courses on your own money. Just be a student of the profession. No matter whatever your chosen profession in his life, if you wait for your employer to provide all of the training and all the experiences, it's never going to happen.
Well, here's what I found so interesting and overwhelming to me, that you got into the talk about, you felt you needed to get into this martial arts. And please, I don't know anything. Just tell us your story and about the type of martial arts you felt you needed. Go ahead and share this.
We had an intern. I was in charge of our intern program, and we had an intern by the name of Ron Burns, just a great guy, but a very accomplished martial artist. And the more I talked to him, I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So I started attending martial arts classes in Omaha and met a person that would have a huge impact in my life, Ken Brooks, Grandmaster Ken Brooks, 9th degree black belt. And extremely intimidating, extremely rough on the students, but it was so good for me. He and I ended up being like brothers. Just really had a tremendous relationship. But he struck that interest in me, and I still teach to this day as a result of our relationship.
What type of martial arts?
Hapkido, which is Korean.
Yep.
It's very similar to Aikido. Probably the best example of Aikido are some of the old Steven Seagal movies. Aikido is Japanese, and Hapkido, what I do, is Korean. But Grandmaster Ken Brooks, if you're looking for a martial arts, you need to look no further than Grandmaster Dan and Patty Longoria right here in Lincoln. They are phenomenal instructors and even better people.
Tell us the process. I mean, as we talked, it was intimidating at first, you said?
It was extremely intimidating at first. I was extremely uncoordinated in the martial arts thing. I think Grandmaster Brooks was afraid I was going to get hurt rolling down the mat. But I learned so much. And once again, it's those lifelong relationships that you develop there. It's just a real camaraderie.
For people that don't know, what are the lessons from you? I mean, I'm thinking of the mental lessons. I'm sure the confidence level, things change. What does martial arts do for you as a person?
I think that confidence is certainly a huge one. Discipline. It really promotes to be a lifelong learner, because they say a black belt is just a white belt that refused to quit. And I think that's a lifelong lesson with a lot of what we do. I think a lot of times people quit right before that good stuff started. We quit too soon. And I think that, that black belt is just a white belt that refused to quit. That perseverance is another huge one.
I hope people really took that in right there, that lesson of many people quit too soon.
Quit too
When
soon.
success is probably right around the corner.
Yep.
Now you are, educate me, Ron. You're a black belt now, is that correct?
Yes, I am.
And what does that mean?
It's just a lot of it is commitment. It's longevity. It's being in rank for a certain amount of time. I'm a 3rd degree black belt. It's just being in rank, testing, going through all the curriculum, teaching. It encompasses a lot of things. It encompasses a lot of things more than just the physical aspect of it.
And you were a probation officer, you said, for 20 years.
I was a federal probation officer for 20 years. I was a state probation officer for about 3 years.
What people may not know now, you retired from that profession when?
I retired in August 31st, at about 4:15 in the afternoon, but who was counting?
Yeah.
And I retired on a Wednesday and taught in Canada on Friday.
Well, let's jump into, because I want to give it plenty of time.
Yes.
The idea of I'm that man. How did it originate?
Well, the co-author, Brian Willis, is a law enforcement mentor of mine, and Brian has several different books out, all on kind of the format of the chicken soup for the soul. He has several different contributors for the book, and he has a theme for the book. And he had contacted me and asked me to do a submission, do an article for a book called If I Knew Then. And it was basically 30-some different law enforcement professionals giving advice to people coming up through the ranks.
Wow.
If I knew then, what would I do differently, or what advice could I give you? As a result of that request, I wrote the article, Am I That Man?, which talks about my brother and Coach Hunsacker. Basically, did I measure up? Am I the man you wanted me to be? Was your time in me invested wisely? And as a result of that, Brian and I talked on the phone, and he goes, I have similar stories. We said, I bet everyone has similar stories. Mm-hmm. So as a result of that, we had 31 different men from all walks of life that wrote about who invested in them and who are they investing in. The whole premise of the book and the whole premise of life should really be honoring the past and investing in the future.
Oh, I love that. I love
like that quote.
I love that. I want to make sure we tell the story, because you shared it with me, about Bob Delaney, NBA referee. He contributed to the book, and he did the foreword. He's got an interesting story.
Well, like I said the other night, Mike, on the phone, if there's 30 people in there, maybe 10 of them were friends of mine, 10 of them were friends of Brian's, and 10 of them we just reached out via other connections. And Bob Delaney was one of those connections we reached out to. Bob Delaney was an undercover New Jersey state trooper that went undercover and infiltrated the mafia in New Jersey. And then he also refereed a lot in summer league games. He parlayed the refereeing into being in charge of the NBA basketball officials. And he has refereed and been a ambassador for basketball all over the world. And I personally don't know him, but fascinating man. I do have a great story about Tony Dungy, though.
Oh, please.
Tony Dungy.
I love Tony Dungy.
Yeah, who doesn't? Tony Dungy, we had talked to Tony Dungy and Sully Sullenberg, the pilot that landed the plane on the Hudson, about coming on board with the book and the whole project. The book is just one example of it, but it's really a philosophy. But we had talked to Tony Dungy, and I saw Tony Dungy at the Indianapolis airport. I saw him sitting there, and I thought, well, he would be very disappointed if he thought that he had a chance to talk to me and I didn't come over and introduce myself. He didn't know me from Adam, but I went over to introduce myself, and I was hoping to go over there and be really smooth and impress him. And all I did was embarrass myself and stumbled all over myself, because there's that Tony Dungy with like this aura all about him. And I was going to talk to him, and it was bad. And my business partner, Bob Thornton, said to me, well, that went well. Jokingly.
Well, it's like when I met Coach Rule here at the station, and I acted like a 10-year-old.
Yes, exactly. One of my idols. I had a chance to talk to him, and I didn't do very well.
Share behind the scenes. How did you pull this together? It's hard. It's amazing that you got these people to.
Well, I would say that Brian Willis did the majority of it. Okay, Brian is a Brian has done several books in the past. He's very much an entrepreneur. Brian did several of the work with it, the majority of the work. But we all just reached out to people we knew. Randy Sutton is one of the people that contributed to it. Randy is. I used to watch Randy on the TV show Cops. He's been on the TV show Cops more than anybody in history of the show. He was the police officer that saluted now President Trump at the RNC convention. Randy's a very, very dear friend of mine, and he was the first call I made to do it. So a lot of very well-known people gave very freely of their time and their talents to.
I'm curious, Ron, from your perspective, as you pulled this together and the book got published, what did you see were the common themes of all these 31 contributors?
They all had someone that saw something in them that they didn't see themselves. And I did with Bill Hunsacker and my brother. I had, without them, I don't know where I'd be. We all maybe took a different path, but arrived at the same solution. That somebody took the time and went above and beyond to invest in them.
We're all connected in some way, aren't we?
In some way.
Ron Sheriff, I'm curious, with all these people, who's your hero?
I would say my hero right today, my hero is my wife and my sons.
Excellent.
Evan and Martin.
That's excellent. How about role model?
My wife and my sons are my role models.
That's outstanding.
Yeah. Coach Hunsacker and my brother will always be those people that put me on the path.
They were that man.
Yeah.
They were that man.
How have these people and your family shaped your life?
Kept me very humble. Jerry has given me many opportunities to learn what's important in life. The two boys, I never refer to them as such, but are stepsons. I've never referred to them as a stepson. They are my sons. I love them as if they were my own flesh and blood.
Mm-hmm.
But Jerry's. I've learned about family. I didn't have that great role model to be a father. I'm a lot better grandfather now than I was a father. Yeah. I just didn't have that role model, and I didn't know what a healthy family, a healthy relationships look like. Mm-hmm. I'm getting better, but I still have a long ways to go.
Oh, I went through the same thing, and I think you and I identify with this, and I think people can relate to this. The sense of loss. Loss is painful, and loss hurts, and it can beat you up and knock you down, and sometimes it can put you in a poor mindset to where you're so. Did you find yourself ever just kind of drowning in thoughts of the past and not, preparing a plan, moving forward? Did you ever find yourself stuck? I did in the early years, anyway. I just wanted to get your comments.
I'm not sure. I'm not so sure, Mike, that I could share those exact feelings. A lot of history. I mean,
well,
a lot of history. There was years where I couldn't even drive down 18th and O Street because that's where I grew up. I couldn't look over there to that old apartment house where I grew up.
Well, what's commendable about you, Ron, though, you somehow, and we've overcome it. We've found a way to move forward. And that's just awesome. I see with Harrison, we need to take another break, and we'll finish up here just a minute more with Ron Scheidt in just a minute.
Did you know that AmeriCorps programs improve lives, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement in Nebraska? For example, AmeriCorps program serving with the RISE program helps students on probation for truancy gain skills to improve both their attendance and performance in school. Discover more about AmeriCorps programs making a difference in your community at serve.nebraska.gov. Paid for by Serve Nebraska. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call John Henrys at 402-435-5555 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-435-5555.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, And Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services, as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions, 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Fierce Cheese Spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Fierce Cheese Spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Fierce Cheese Spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Early break. Joe says, Kevin says, the old days were absolutely not better times. Lots of hardships. Life in 2025 is better than ever.
Oh, I love when we get these jokes back. I love
Good
when
joke, good
I love
one.
the joke. You're good.
Good one, Kevin.
You're hilarious, Kevin. You keep it up.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law Group and find out how we can help get you the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you can trust.
Have you heard about Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center? Located at 7555 Pioneers Boulevard, Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center offers compassionate, patient-focused care and provides outpatient surgery services, making it possible to have non-emergency surgery and return home the same day. Advanced Medical Imaging Surgery Center specializes in cardiology, vascular radiology, orthopedics, pain management, and much, much more. Give them a call today at 402-261-1085 or online at amimaging.com.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
Davis Plumbing has been in business for over 15 years and is currently searching for journeyman plumbers to join their team. Experience is preferred, but not required for all applicants. When you join the team at Davis Plumbing, you'll receive full benefits package with paid time off. Join a small local business doing big things in Lincoln and surrounding areas. Apply today by calling 402-525-6922 or find them on social media. Davis Plumbing, locally owned and operated for over 15 years.
Back to What's Next 24 from the 93.7 The Ticket studio with the authors of Next 24, Michael Worrell and Sherry Tills.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment, What's Next 24. Harrison runs on the ones and twos. If you want to get any last-second comments in, 402-464-5685. You can also rewatch any of the streams on YouTube in case you missed earlier in the show. With that being said, throw it over to the host, Michael.
All right, well, welcome back, everyone. Again, we're here with Ron Scheidt, co-author of Am I That Man? It's a fantastic book. I noticed also on the back of the book, it's got some local people here.
It does.
Eric Strickland. Eric's one of the great people here at 93.7 The Ticket. Made a wonderful comment. Aaron Davis is another local person that has some comments put within the book. Ron, real quick, you have done a wonderful job though of building your career, building. If you felt you ever had nothing, you've really built something, and I'm so proud of this show with you today. Tell people what you're doing today.
Well, excuse me. Thank you, Mike. I have a training and consulting business with a guy named Bob Thornton out of Washington State. Bob is one of the foremost experts in the country on probation, parole, policies, safety, things like that. And I've been working with Bob for probably about 20 years now. And Bob handles all of the business and I handle all the training. Our primary clients are probation, parole, community corrections, some law enforcement, and some just the public. But Bob handles all of the business and the things like that, court appearances.
And what I understand now, you're traveling all over the United States and the world. Is that correct?
I am. I travel all over. In fact, I'm leaving Tuesday for San Mateo, California. I'll be back a couple of days from there, and then I go to Colorado for 2 weeks. I'm training the security for the Denver Broncos in Denver.
Oh my gosh!
One of the things I'm doing at Bronco Stadium. So
can I go with you?
You're more than welcome.
Tell us real quick. What's your emphasis now in training? What's your main focus to help?
I teach a lot of courses on control tactics, officer safety, street survival. I also teach firearms, martial arts. Things like that. How to supervise offenders in the community.
What's the biggest challenge today that you've seen or change over time? The world's changed greatly, and I'm sure you have to change with it in your training.
The world has changed tremendously. Probation is a very unique entity that you wear a lot of hats as a probation officer. You're a counselor, you're a police officer, you're an attorney, you're a advocate. You wear a lot of hats in the probation parole arena. So that is a very difficult part of it.
Well, it's amazing. You've got a great Facebook page. You've posted. I wish we had, like I always say this, 3 hours for this particular show, but of all the unique people in law enforcement, people that you've gotten to know, experts in the field, fabulous people that you've shared stories with. What's been the impact on you to meet all these outstanding people along the way?
Well, I think once again, Mike, it's all about relationships. I think life is just about relationships, but no matter what your chosen, field of endeavor is, you have to be a lifelong learner. And I think you really have to humble yourself. I'm very proud to say that a lot of people that I've seen on TV, read their books, went to their trainings, are now personal friends of mine that have stayed at our house. And you just have to be a lifelong learner is probably as good of advice as I can give to anyone.
I think that's the greatest lesson. I think so many people give up on learning. That's absolutely true. Sure, I know we got a few minutes and I've hogged the questions today. Do you have a few questions you'd like to ask?
Well, one thing I just would kind of want to know. I'm currently working in a high school. I'm not a teacher and I work with special ed, but I do see the high school population. And what you just said about being a lifelong learner, I think sometimes nowadays we see kids that, they're young. Of course, we all thought we knew everything when we were young and graduating from high school. But, they think they're just going to go out and conquer the world. And, they think, well, I'll take 2 years or 4 years of college and then, I'm going to be successful. But, the adage of you saying, you need to be a lifelong learner. And it's not just book learning. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. It's just experiential experiences too. And partner with someone, humble yourself and learn at the feet of people that have been there, done that, that have made the mistakes that you don't have to make.
I love that.
Ron, today, how can people or businesses who are interested get a hold of you?
I can give you my personal information here. I have no problem with that. My phone number is 402-416-2189. Once again, 402-416-2189. Email is RONSCHEIDT, the number 2 at Gmail. And if I can do anything for you, if interested in a book or anything else, please feel free to give me a call.
And I'd like to add, I'd really encourage people to get this book. It's a great read. There's also workbook sections here where you can write and think. Ron, we're just finishing up. We're going to turn the mic over to you. This is the best part. I love this show. What would you like to voice to the community?
Well, I would just probably reiterate what I said about align yourself with good people. Align yourself with people that are headed in the direction that you want to go in. Humble yourself. We're not all going to start at the top. In fact, far from it. Just mentors, relationships. It's all about relationships.
It's all about relationships. And I like to say, are you that man? Get this book today. It's a fabulous book by Ron Scheidt, How Heroes, Role Models, and Mentors Can Shape Your Life. With that, we'll finish up and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
Ready to spruce up your space? No matter what project is on your list, you can check it off at the Nebraska Builders Home and Garden Show, February 7th through the 9th at the Sandhills Global Events Center. With over 200 businesses under one roof, you'll find the latest in home innovations and experts that handle your dream projects. Admission is just $10, and children 12 and under are free. For more information, visit the Home and Garden Show online at hbal.org.
February is American Heart Month, and with heart disease as the #1 leading cause of death in Nebraska, now is the best time to start thinking about your health. Maintaining a healthy blood pressure is one of the best ways to avoid heart disease, and the blood pressure screening is fast, easy, and can be free. The best way to get screened is at your yearly wellness visit with your doctor. For more information and ways to get a blood pressure screening, search Chronic Disease Nebraska. Paid for by Nebraska DHHS, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure?